Greetings all, it's been quite a while, hasn't it? Hopefully you're all well and good, and hopefully 2022 is kicking off grand for you with the return of a full weekend of Premier League action. The Analyst hat-trick is back here on YouTube. So firstly, thank you to each and every one of you that hopped across to our Twitter account during the festive period here in the UK and took part in all our polls. There's certainly been a little bit of movement in the leaderboard, so let's get over to that straight away. And it's Matt who will be hoping to hold on to his position at the summit as we move on into the new year. Although the chasing pack are fast closing in, thanks to a very strong showing over the past few weeks. Sure, Andy has jumped above you in our Opta Analyst community again, although the less said about my showing, the better. Simply awful. Now, as we did during the festive period, because it proved quite a hit, we are going to publish the polls on our Twitter account after the publication of this show. So make sure you head over to @OptaAnalyst to take part, and make sure your voice is heard as well. So let's fire straight in with the Friday night action, shall we? You might have already seen some of this preview on our Twitter account, because we're looking ahead to Brighton against Crystal Palace, where it has been a story of late goals recently, with the last 3 games seeing result-altering strikes in the 90th minute. It has seen Brighton record 2 draws. It has seen Palace pick up 1 victory. No fixture in the history of the Premier League has seen 4 consecutive games end with a result-altering goal in the 90th minute. Could this be the one that breaks that record? Well, our win probability model is backing the hosts to come out victorious in this one, with perhaps a larger chance than you might expect. I'm guessing that comes down to the fact that since their 11-game winless run in the Premier League, Brighton have now won 2 of their last 3 in the competition, drawing the other, whilst Palace have won just 1 of their last 11 Premier League away games, losing the last 3 league games on the road without scoring a goal. And also bear in mind that Palace haven't had that Friday feeling in Premier League action, having never won a game on this day of the week, drawing 3 and losing 4. For Brighton, well, they actually lost their first ever game they played on a Friday in the Premier League. But since then, they've been unbeaten, and they haven't even conceded a goal, winning 3 and drawing 1. Palace are going to have to keep their eye on Alexis McAllister after scoring twice in Brighton's 3-2 win at Everton last time out, which was as many goals as he had in his previous 33 Premier League matches combined. However, just one of the Argentine's 5 Premier League goals have come at the Amex Stadium, so there's a trend he'll be looking to buck. Now, don't forget to head over to our Twitter account to cast your vote, and if you want to have a little bit more thought about which way to go, well, here's the thought of what some of our contributors are believing, where I firmly believe we're looking at a draw in this one, but Duncan and Andy are backing the hosts and our win probability model to be correct by backing a Brighton win, whilst Ollie and Matt are both falling down on the side of a Palace win, so plenty to play for. Wind the clock forward less than 24 hours and we are heading up to the Etihad, where for the 50th time in the Premier League, Manchester City and Chelsea will collide. Now, in the early stages of this fixture, it was Chelsea who dominated. Manchester City actually only won 3 of the first 25 games between the two sides in the competition. But since then, it has been a story of City domination. They have taken 12 of the last 24 and also had 3 draws along the way. So all fortune favouring City in this one at the moment. And that change of momentum in fortunes between the two sides can really be shown in our win probability model, which is making Pep Guardiola's side the heavy favourites to be victorious on home soil. And if they are able to do so, it will be the 4th time that they've done the double over Chelsea in the Premier League, following their 1-0 victory at Stamford Bridge earlier this campaign. Now, we all know that City have won 11 games on the bounce in the competition, and somewhat amazingly, this is actually their 5th run where they have won 11 or more consecutive games in the Premier League. Now, before you all rush and go vote for City to make it 12 on the bounce, it is worth bearing in mind that 3 of the previous 4 runs have been ended at home. And we're going to do a little bit of a quiz here and a little bit of pause for thought. because I want you to tell me who were the teams that ended the runs. I'll give you the years just to make it a little bit easier, okay? So we're looking at 2015, 2019, and 2021. But who were the opponents that ended City's run? Answers will be coming up in just a little bit. There's a chance for Raheem Sterling to make a little bit of history at the Etihad Stadium as well if he finds himself on the score sheet, as he would become the second player to reach 50 goals at the venue in the Premier League, after who else but Sergio Aguero, who has 106. On the other side of the field, and since the start of last season, no Chelsea player has scored more Premier League goals than Jorginho. Sounds good, but all 13 of the Italian strikes in that time have come from the penalty spot, so Thomas Tuchel will be hoping someone else is able to find the breakthrough from open play. So don't forget to go over to our Twitter account at Opta Analyst to have your say in the result of the match. But in terms of the quiz answer, well, here we go. Let's go back to September of 2015, when it was West Ham who took a 2-1 victory to end that winning streak of City's. Then, now we've got to look at the only draw of the 3 games, which was Spurs when they picked up a 2-2 draw in August of 2019. And then who else? Manchester United claimed a 2-0 win at the Etihad in March last year to break another winning run. Well done if you were able to answer those questions correctly, or even if you got some of them right. Maybe a little bit of the Christmas spirit still flying around. Let's take a look at the rest of Saturday's fixtures, where, according to our win probability model at least, every matchup has a relatively comfortable favourite, although Newcastle might be the slight surprise ones, considering they have lost their first home league match in the last 3 years, with their last triumph as a Premier League side coming back in 2012 against Manchester United. Still, our model gives them a 41.1% chance of beating Watford, whilst also predicting wins for Wolves, Everton, Leicester and Manchester United. For Sunday's game, well, where else can we turn to? It is, of course, the North London derby, where Tottenham are actually unbeaten in their last 7 home games against their biggest rivals, which is their longest such run since a run of 9 between 1960 and 1968. We also now have to add in the Antonio Conte factor. His 8-game unbeaten start in the Premier League to life as Tottenham manager is the best for a Spurs manager in league history, so it's looking pretty ominous for the Gunners, isn't it? Well, our win probability model certainly thinks so, giving Spurs a 41.2% chance of victory over Arsenal on Sunday. Victory will make it the first time since August 1961 that Tottenham have won 3 consecutive league games over Arsenal, whilst the Gunners will be hoping to complete their first league double over Tottenham since the 2013-2014 season. Now, if you can remember just slightly earlier, I was singing the praises about Antonio Conte as Spurs' manager since taking charge. The trouble is, he's coming up against, well, maybe his bogey side this weekend. You see, in his time as Chelsea manager, he faced them 8 times in all competitions and was only able to pick up 1 victory. And of the club sides he's faced at least 5 times, the Gunners is the side against he has the worst win percentage rate in his time in charge at just 12.5%. So the Italian's got to turn it around against the Gunners. Another man who considered Arsenal his bogey side was Son Heung-min, having failed to record a goal or an assist in any of his first 9 Premier League games against them. However, since then, there has been no stopping the South Korean, having scored 3 and twice assisted in the past 4 North London derby appearances. Whilst Harry Kane will be looking to extend his record of being the top scorer in matches between these two sides in all competitions, having netted 11 goals in his 16 appearances. However, it has been a bit of a dry spell recently, having failed to score in his last 2 appearances against the Gunners, the longest drought against them in his career. Well, what do you think? Make sure you head over to our Twitter account at Opta Analyst to cast your vote. And again, amongst us panellists, it's a really split vote, with every option being taken up. So there's a good chance that people will be able to make a move around our leaderboard. As ever, no game is left without at least a glance from our win probability model, but there's probably no surprise to any of you that our model is favouring victories for West Ham and Liverpool, with the Reds having the highest chance of any side winning in the Premier League this weekend at 69.7%, hoping to make it 14 games unbeaten at Anfield with a 5th successive victory. Well, thank you very much for tuning in today. Don't forget, of course, to head over to our Twitter account at Opta Analyst to have your vote on each of the games in this show. And once you've done that, make sure you do head over to our website as well, the home of data-driven sports storytelling. That is theanalyst.com. But for now, we'll be back very soon. And until then, goodbye.